So you like this guy. You really like him. He's really masculine, really turns you on. You guys are having a great time together. You go on a date, you go on 2 dates, you go on 3 dates, you go on 4 dates. Every time he just sweeps you off your feet. You're really enjoying him. You think that maybe he's going to be the one. You fantasize about being in a relationship with him. And then he pulls away. He was texting you multiple times a day, and you don't really hear from him for, say, a day, maybe 2 days. Or you're hearing from him, but he seems to be more distant. He's not as connected to you. He's texting less. He's not as enthusiastic about making plans. And of course, you then start to freak out a little bit. Start wondering what's going on. Does he like me anymore? Does he found somebody else? A bunch of abandonment fears come up. All totally natural, understandable. Nothing wrong with any of that. And then there's going to be typically one of 2 things that you are going to do at this point, if you've taken no advice from femininity coaches or anybody. One is you go into what's going on, is everything okay? You start texting more, you try to fill in that energy gap. You start maybe initiating, making plans, asking a bunch of questions. If you do that, there's a good chance you already know this from experience, that's going to tend to push a man away further. Because now you're more in that masculine energy. He's going to feel like there's no space here. He's going to start losing that attraction, losing that connection for you. And if he doesn't get fully pushed away, now you're in a dynamic where you're the one that's leading, and it's going to feel absolutely terrible for you. The other thing that you might do is play it cool. Pretend that everything is okay, that everything is chill. So you're still letting him lead. You're still responding to his lead, but you're not really saying anything. You're just that cool girl that is not emotionally affected by a man and his behavior. And that can work. Might pull him back in, but it's manipulative. You're actually not communicating what your needs are. You're not sharing your heart. You're not sharing how his behavior is emotionally affecting you, because you're afraid that if you do that, it's going to push him away further. And that's certainly not going to be any way to start a healthy relationship, right, based on avoiding your feelings. So I'm going to be talking in this video about what you can do, or what you should do, in a way that's going to honor yourself. It's going to feel really good for you, scary for you, yes, but it's going to honor yourself, honor your heart, and it's also going to typically, at least if the man is relatively healthy, cause a man to feel more pulled in, more connected to you, repair any issues that might be happening. First, though, we got to talk about something that femininity coaches, and just many coaches in general, will often be giving as advice, but it is good advice. It is good advice, but it's limiting advice. It's incomplete advice that if this is all you do, it's going to be a big problem. So the advice that is commonly given is that you should just lean back. You lean back, you focus fully on you. You focus on your life. You focus on the things that make you happy, that bring you joy. Maybe you start talking to other men. You hang out with your friends. You focus on your passions, all that stuff. And if it's good advice, because this is good advice, or at least it can be, it's just incomplete. If it's good advice, you're being told that for you. You're doing that for you. You're not doing that to manipulate a response from him. Because if you're doing that, if you're trying to manipulate a response, then you're actually in your masculine energy. You're not in your feminine. You're trying to control. That's not really an integrity. It's not going to feel good for you. And it's probably also not going to work nearly as well or at all, because on some level a man's going to feel that. On some level a man is going to feel manipulated. And if it does work, there's going to be a higher chance that it's a weaker man anyway. Because a truly dominant, healthy man wouldn't be withdrawing his energy without telling you what's going on, first of all. But say he's like somewhat healthy, somewhat masculine, he's going to feel that he's being manipulated, and you're not going to get a good response from him. So on that note, since I brought it up, before we talk about what you actually need to do, when a man withdraws his energy, that's actually a problem. Like, I talk a lot on these videos about, like, hey, here's how you're co-creating all these situations. Here's how you are the problem. And I might do it with a lot of love, but still, I'm focusing on how you're the problem. But understand, it's important for you to understand that a man's behavior is often the problem. A healthy masculine man is not going to withdraw his energy and time and start texting you way less without telling you what's going on, right? So say the problem is you. Like, say that there's something that you did that really turned him off or pissed him off in some kind of way. A healthy masculine man is going to be like, hey, I want to talk to you about something. Here's something that you did. Here's why this is the problem. We're going to work this out. And he leads the two of you through it together instead of leaving you guessing. If it's that he found somebody else, let's say, he's going to just tell you that. If he's really busy with work, like genuinely, and it has nothing to do with you, he's going to tell you that. If it's something that's unrelated to you, he's going to tell you that. If it's related to you in some way, something you've done, he's going to tell you that too, instead of leaving you guessing. Because it's a poor leadership. It's very bad leadership. It's undevotional leadership for a man to withdraw essentially his leadership, right? His time, his energy, all of that stuff, but essentially his leadership, because he's in the leading role. He should be in the leading role. It's very bad leadership to do that to a woman without telling her what's going on. That's not leadership. That's being a boy. Unfortunately, most men are boys, at least in some respects, right? Just like women, most women have issues too that they need to work on. Most men out there are going to have issues. They're not going to be the perfect masculine man on the planet. Okay, so now that we've covered that, we'll talk briefly a bit more about the leaning back thing. So the problem with leaning back, we'll talk about leaning back, and then we're going to talk about what you actually should be doing that's going to complete the leaning back picture, what's going to make it get you the best possible results in a way that's going to honor you. The problem with leaning back is it's incomplete. You should be focused on your life. No matter what, you should be focused on your life. If a man's not able to give you everything that you need in a texting dynamic, dating dynamic, blah, 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 you should be focusing on your life. You should be having fun. You shouldn't be glued to your phone. You shouldn't be stuck in your head wondering, like, is this guy going to text me back? What's the problem? So that's good to be leaning back your energy so that it gives space for a man to step up, take care of you, want to text more, want to be interested in you, and all of that. But if all you are doing is leaning back, even if you're not doing it from a manipulative place, what you are doing is you are dishonoring your heart by not communicating your needs. If you're not communicating your needs with the man that you really like, if you're not communicating your feelings with the man when he's hurt you in some way, when it's bringing up all of this anxiety, then you're dishonoring yourself. So leaning back actually becomes a way to step out of your feminine self-worth. You use it as a way to step out of your feminine self-worth. Because women who are in their feminine self-worth, they are communicating what they're feeling if they feel bad in some kind of way. Now, this is somewhat context dependent. If this is a first date, like you've been on one date with a guy, he doesn't owe you anything, there's like barely, there's some connection, like you're feeling really good about each other, all this stuff, and then he kind of goes a little bit distant. You don't need to share your feelings necessarily. You should be really focused on your life anyway. You still could share your feelings. Right? There's nothing necessarily wrong with it. I'm just saying that you're not necessarily dishonoring your heart if you don't share your feelings, at least right away. Like you could, at some point when he starts coming back, you have the next date or whatever, it probably should be brought up. But it's not like you have to share your feelings right away by text. But if this is like, say, date number 5, just as an example, you've really created this strong connection already. You've been really opening up with him, sharing all of this stuff with him. You're feeling that really strong attachment to him. And then he starts to go much more distant on you. If all you're doing is leaning back, that's big time dishonoring yourself. You're not in your feminine self-worth. Unconsciously, at least, if you lean back, you're doing it out of fear. So it's not really truly leaning back. It's out of fear of what would happen if you actually communicated your needs. You've got to communicate your needs. And I know it's scary. Your needs and your feelings. It is scary, but you got to do it. We're going to talk about how to do it. First, I'm going to introduce myself. I haven't done that yet. My name is Zach Rohde. I'm here to lead you into creating the relationship of your dreams, using your feminine energy and what I call feminine communication to inspire a man into cherishing you. If you've not yet subscribed to my channel, make sure you do that below. Hit the notification bell and be sure to like this video because I'm going to make sure it's a good one for you today. I make sure all of my videos are good for you. And if you would like help learning how to shift out of your unhealthy control patterns that are repelling the kind of devotion and cherishing that you need and deserve from a man, whether you're single or in a relationship, then go below this video, open up the description. You're going to see the link to my main website, relationshipyourdreams.com, and there you're going to find all of my offers. But one of the things you will find is my free 45-minute training where I will teach you exactly how to shift these control patterns. Well, not exactly, but I give you a lot of feedback about how to shift these control patterns and how these control patterns are keeping you stuck and what you can do about it. So that's relationshipyourdreams.com. Okay, so what you can do in this situation. So yes, be leaning back. And we'll give this example. It is date number 5. Okay? You feel what when a man starts withdrawing his energy? Probably anxiety. You might be feeling some sadness as well. You might feel some anger. That's also possible. But anxiety is going to be a really big one, especially if you're not securely attached, right? Where you just have that natural trust that you're not going to be abandoned. But even if you are securely attached, if you really like a man and then he starts to really go distant, you're going to feel something. You're a human being and you're a woman. You're not a robot. So you're going to be feeling stuff, and that's okay to feel stuff. That's totally understandable, like I said. So you need to be able to share that with a man. And ideally, this is not done by text, because text, things can be misinterpreted, and a man's not necessarily going to be able to feel your heart. So if it can wait a day, that might be more appropriate. But you do, say you have like a call scheduled or something, it's definitely better to do it on a call. You can always ask permission for a phone call too, but it does definitely need to be shared. You do need to communicate what is coming up for you. There's a few ways that you can do that, but the very simplest, this is like the bare basics, the main ingredients of what we teach our women in our academy program, is to ask for help with your feelings. May I please have some help with my feelings? May I please have some help with the anxiety that I'm feeling right now? You can share that as well. There's many ways that you can share this. So you're asking for help with your feelings because you need that help. You need that help. You think leaning back is going to fix it? I mean, it might make it easier rather than being glued to your phone. But this is a guy that you really like, that you have this really strong attraction connection to. Of course you are going to be feeling anxiety. Right? Just like if the man really liked you and you started becoming distant, he's going to feel some anxiety too. Now, of course, how he deals with it should be different, because he's leading. He shouldn't be getting vulnerable. He should be lovingly leading you to figure out what's going on and repair things or get clarity or whatever. But for you as a woman, as a feminine connected woman, you might not be operating through your feminine energy, but your feminine instinct is at least online enough to know that you want to be operating this way. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten this far in the video. Probably. Unless you hate me and you just want to find out why you hate me. But if this is resonating, it's because your feminine energy is online. And you want to be operating through that feminine energy, which means you need to be getting vulnerable. You need to be opening up. Now, of course, that's scary. You got this guy who you really like, and now you're going to be sharing your anxiety with him. And you're, of course, what's going to be going through your head? Oh, he's going to think I'm too much. He's going to think I'm too emotional. He's going to think I'm crazy. I'm a basket case. He's not going to want to deal with this. This is way too big of a burden for him. He just wants a girl that's just chill and cool and everything. Here's the thing. Yes, a man does want a woman who is his peace. He wants a woman who is easygoing, easy to deal with. But what that really means, it doesn't mean that a masculine man, a healthy man, wants a woman who doesn't feel anything and is just chill all the time and doesn't get emotionally affected. It means that when she does get emotionally affected, she's able to communicate that in a beautiful, respectful, vulnerable way, instead of putting those feelings onto him, instead of controlling him with those feelings, instead of leading him with those feelings, instead of manipulating him with those feelings, instead of blaming him with those feelings. Instead of managing his perceptions of you with your feelings by being a victim or whatever, right? You're not doing any of that. You're just respectfully, vulnerably, like a grown-up woman, sharing your feelings, sharing what's going on, asking for help. So you're starting by asking for help because that's really what you need help with. And then he's going to probably be like, yeah, what's up? Why are you feeling anxious? And you're going to share why you feel anxious. And you're going to make it about you. So an example of this is you're sharing, I feel fear that I did something wrong, or I feel fear that you don't like me anymore. Because that's probably true. Or that you found somebody else. Those are the fears. He asks you why. Well, because I noticed that we're not, connecting as much as we used to. I don't know if there's something wrong. I don't know if there's something that I did. So you're sharing what the problem is. You're making the fear about you. You're not blaming him for the fact that he's showing up less. You're just sharing what's coming up for you, and you're just sharing what the problem is. So by doing that, you're now being vulnerable. And again, text, it's kind of messy. It is way better to do this on person, or at least on the phone. But by doing this, you're clear about what's coming up for you. You're owning what your feelings are. This doesn't make you weak. This doesn't make you too much. This makes you beautiful. Just to put it in a situation for me, right? Say I'm a single guy. Of course, I'm married, happily married, but say I was single again and I'm dating a woman that I really like. Like, let's assume that I still like her, because a lot of the reasons I might be withdrawing might be because of work or because of whatever. So say I really like her. And then she shares this. She's not blaming me in any kind of way. Now what am I feeling? It's like, oh, I'm like causing this pain to this woman that I really like and I'm connected to and I've got these feelings for. And it's because I'm just not letting her know that I'm busy. Or I'm not letting her know that there's this thing that kind of bothered me about her that's caused this disconnection. Man, I got to start being more honest. I got to be more proactive in my leadership. And I would actually feel more connected to her now because she's shared these. I mean, you know what? It's a compliment. I mean, some men aren't going to receive it as a compliment. But when a woman feels a lot of negative feelings because of a man's behavior, that's basically saying, like, I really like you. Because if you didn't like him at all, you would just be kind of indifferent. You wouldn't really care. So the fact that you feel all of this anxiety that's coming up because of a man who's kind of withdrawing a bit, the man's like, oh wow, she really likes me. And no, that is not giving your power away, right? Like, women will often play these games or think that they need to play these games. Men often do it too. Like, if I'm actually honest, if I'm actually clear about how much I like a guy, then he's not going to like me anymore, and like, he's not going to want to chase me. Look, there's definitely men out there who will chase women, and when they find out that the woman really likes him, they won't want to pursue anything anymore. You don't want those men anyway. They're damaged. They're chasing after mommy's love. Do you want to be mommy? No. You want to be the cherished woman. So forget about those men. You don't have to worry about how a man responds, because assuming that you're communicating cleanly and vulnerably, because if he responds badly, he's not the man for you anyway. He's just going to make your life hell. He's going to be a disaster leader if he leads at all. All you have to do is put your chips on the table. You have to be clean. You have to be honest, and you see what happens. And yes, that means you might lose men that you really liked, but they weren't right for you anyway, even if you think that they are. You just have to be you, and that's it. The problem is you don't know how to fully be you, because you got all these control patterns and ways of expressing that you've been taught unconsciously to express in a way that is not actually you. It's coming from a place of control. It's not your vulnerable true self. When you know how to communicate in this true, beautiful, vulnerable way, the really healthy, amazing masculine men are going to respond well, and men who are not right for you are going to respond badly, and now you know which ones not to waste your time with. How great is that? It's that simple. It really is. If you share this, it's also possible, and of course, you're going to be afraid of this response and then wanting to avoid sharing it all because of this response. It might be possible that he just doesn't like you enough. But you know what? If he doesn't like you enough, one of two things, maybe three things. One is the guy just sucks. Don't worry about it. One is the two of you is just not compatible. It's like you guys are both great, but it's not a compatible match, or like from his perspective, it's not what he is looking for. Nothing you can do about that too, because you can't twist yourself and contort yourself to be someone that you're not. Number three is, it is something that you are doing that is wrong in some kind of way. Like that you aren't being vulnerable, you're not being in your self-worth, you're guarding your heart in some kind of way. And if that's the issue, well, that's something that can be worked through. And you can even ask, like, may I know if there's something that I'm doing that's wrong, that's like pushing you away? That's a vulnerable thing to ask. You need to know that. Like, if you're open to being the most feminine embodied woman that you can be, you should be asking those kind of questions. Of course. That doesn't make you weak. That doesn't make you less, because you are holding the feminine pull. It's very different than being in the masculine. Stop trying to be in that masculine pull, and like, a man wouldn't be guarding as, trying to be powerful by withholding either. But a man should not be withholding in a different way, right? He's not withholding because he's leading. What he is giving you is his leadership. He's not being vulnerable, right? Because leadership isn't vulnerable, but like, that's the risk that he's taking. That's how he's showing you that he cares, is by leading, by providing, by protecting you. That's how he shows you that you matter to him. The way that you show that he matters to you, and you're not showing it for this purpose, but the way that you do it is with your vulnerability. You're ultimately really just doing it for you. You're doing it because you know that your needs and your feelings are important enough that you're going to share them. That's how you stay in your self-worth. So yeah, you might be really sensitive. So what? That's not something you have to hide. Because if you try to hide your sensitivity, what you're actually hiding and suppressing is your self-worth. You're actually not in your feminine self-worth at all. Like, what I am teaching you here, I mean, maybe other people are teaching this, but very few. Because women have been so misled. Women have been taught to dishonor their heart, to play it cool, to put on a femininity costume, to downplay their needs, even by like dating coaches, like successful dating coaches. You know, there's a big difference between dating coaches and relationship coaches, because I used to teach dating and what, like, for men. And what I taught for men was very different than what I would teach men now that I have a relationship perspective. Of course, a man's going to be operating a bit differently with dating, but like, men don't need games. They don't need any of that crap. And women don't need any games either. It's like the games are hurting you. And when I say games, I don't necessarily mean conscious games. You guarding your heart is a game. You not communicating your feelings vulnerably is a game, because you're being someone that you're not. The woman that you are is so beautiful, is so vulnerable, is so worthy of devotion, and deep down you don't know it. You don't realize how worthy and inspirational you truly are, so you hide the most beautiful part of you, the part of you that's going to inspire the devotion from a man, that's going to attract the most masculine men. Not every man, but the men who are right for you. That's the part that you hide. And that's why your love life is not as amazing as it could be. Now, of course, you need to be able to communicate it in a beautiful, clean, vulnerable way. Because if you think you're being vulnerable, but really you're not, it's going to push away that devotion. And then you're going to think like, that stuff I was learning from Zach's videos, it all sounded good, but it's all BS. No, you know in your heart that I'm telling you the truth. You can feel the resonance. You should be able to feel the resonance. You might be scared that I'm wrong, but you can feel it on some level, because it is true. But you need to be able to communicate it in this beautiful, clean way. Otherwise, you will get the bad reactions. You got blind spots. You got energetic blind spots where you don't realize when you're not truly being in that beautiful, vulnerable energy that absolutely will inspire a man to care. Imagine being able to operate in the world with a man where you don't need to hide anymore, where you don't have to hide your heart. You can just be fully real all the time. That's the future, I'm telling you, is for you. You can have it. You just have to get serious about creating it for yourself. You got to learn this stuff. You got to be courageous enough to implement it over and over again. And yes, that's going to involve rejection. Whether you're in a relationship or not, it's going to involve rejection. And it's going to involve a lot of mistakes. There's no avoiding that. My job is to help you avoid as many of those mistakes as possible, make your learning curve as quick as it possibly can be. We do a little bit of that on these YouTube videos, but more importantly, that's what I help women do as clients of mine in our academy program. I want to speed this journey up for you so that you make as few mistakes as possible, so we can really get this handled, so you can get the devotion and care that you need as quickly as possible. Instead of making these mistakes and then not knowing, like, did I do something wrong? Is it the man? Like, this is a complicated subject. There's just so many ways that you can make mistakes or not really know if you're implementing it correctly. I want to take out the guesswork for you. I want to make this a really fun journey where you're just getting guidance. That's what I do. That's what my team does. We just guide you and help you and show you how to make all of these shifts. You just get to go along for the ride. We do for you what ideally a man should be doing for you that you're dating or in a relationship with, which is just coaching you, which is just helping you, which is just being radically honest with you, with love and care, showing you how to show up in a way that is actually going to honor you, but it's also going to inspire masculine men. If you would like, or at least open to our help, go below this video, open up the description. You're going to see the link to my main website, relationshipyourdreams.com. Watch the video on that main page and then book a call with me below that. On that call, we're going to talk about why you're stuck, the control patterns you're in, why you're not getting the kind of devotion that you need, how you've been repelling that devotion unconsciously, unintentionally. I'll tell you everything that I see. I'll give you some help on that. I'll give you some coaching. This call is 100% free as long as you're truly wanting a solution. We'll find out together if working with us makes sense, if our academy program is the right solution for you. There's no obligation. If it's not, sometimes it's not, then great. I'll try to help you figure out some other solution. But if it is, then great. We can step into it, or you can step into it with us, and we can start creating the relationship of your dreams. Not just with a man, but first and foremost with yourself. Becoming the feminine, embodied woman that you were meant to be. If that's you, book that call. I'll see you there. We'll have a great time. That's it for this one. relationshipyourdreams.com.